The mist clings to the forest floor like the breath of ghosts, and somewhere in these dark woods, a single man carries the weight of 100 lives on his shoulders. The date is October 15, 1944, and Sergeant Marcus Mack O'Sullivan of the 442nd Infantry Regiment crouches behind a fallen oak tree, listening to the rhythmic thud of German artillery shells exploding 2 kilometers to the east. His hands shake not from fear, but from exhaustion. He has not slept in 47 hours. Behind him, scattered through the dense undergrowth of the Vosges Mountains in eastern France, 99 other American soldiers wait in silence. They are the remnants of 3 different companies, thrown together by the chaos of war and now trapped behind enemy lines with dwindling ammunition, no radio contact, and winter closing in fast. The temperature has dropped to just above freezing, and their breath forms small clouds that could betray their position to any German patrol. O'Sullivan removes his helmet and runs his fingers through his matted hair. The irony is not lost on him that a man who barely graduated from a one-room schoolhouse in rural Montana now holds the lives of college graduates, city boys from New York, farmhands from Iowa, and factory workers from Detroit in his weathered hands. 3 days ago, he was nobody special. Just another sergeant in an army of millions, distinguished only by his uncanny ability to read terrain and his stubborn refusal to leave wounded men behind. The trap had been sprung with devastating efficiency. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison's battalion had been advancing through what intelligence reports claimed was lightly defended forest when the German 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division unleashed a perfectly coordinated ambush. Machine gun nests hidden in camouflaged bunkers opened fire simultaneously from 3 sides, while mortar teams rained shells down from predetermined coordinates. Within minutes, the battalion's advance companies were decimated, their communication equipment destroyed, their officers either dead or wounded. O'Sullivan had been moving with Baker Company's 2nd platoon when the shooting started. His first instinct was to find cover and return fire, but as he watched young Private Jenkins take a bullet through the shoulder and fall screaming into a patch of thorny underbrush, something deeper kicked in. This was not about tactics or strategy anymore. This was about getting these boys home to their mothers. The sergeant's plan emerges not from military manuals or officer training, but from years spent hunting deer and elk in the unforgiving wilderness of the Rocky Mountains. He knows that survival in hostile territory requires patience, observation, and the ability to think like your prey. Except in this case, he and his men are the prey, and the hunters are seasoned German soldiers who know these woods intimately. Moving with deliberate slowness, O'Sullivan begins gathering the scattered survivors. He finds Corporal Thompson from Able Company crouched over the body of his best friend, tears streaming down his face. Thompson is 19 years old and has been in combat for exactly 6 days. O'Sullivan places a firm hand on the young man's shoulder and speaks in a voice barely above a whisper. "He's gone, son. But we can still save the living." The process of collecting the survivors takes nearly 2 hours. Some are wounded, others are in shock, and a few are on the verge of panic. O'Sullivan moves between them like a shepherd gathering his flock, offering words of encouragement, sharing his water, and gradually imposing order on chaos. He counts heads methodically, 23 from Able Company, 31 from Baker, 46 from Charlie. 100 men total, including himself. The German search parties are systematic and thorough. O'Sullivan can hear their voices echoing through the trees, calling out coordinates and sector assignments. They have dogs with them, he realizes, catching the faint sound of barking carried on the wind. This changes everything. Human tracking can be evaded through careful movement and camouflage, but dogs follow scent trails that linger for hours. Sergeant O'Sullivan's solution comes to him as he watches a small stream winding its way through the forest floor. Water. Moving water disrupts scent trails and muffles sound. More importantly, this particular stream flows roughly southwest, toward Allied lines. It is not the direct route, which would take them due south through open farmland where German patrols are heaviest. Instead, this path will lead them through the deepest part of the forest, where the canopy is thickest and visibility is limited. The decision to follow the stream seems obvious in retrospect, but at the time it represents an enormous gamble. Moving through water will slow their progress significantly. The wounded men will struggle with the uneven footing and cold temperature. Most critically, they will be completely exposed if they encounter a German patrol while wading through the streambed. But O'Sullivan has observed something that the others have missed. The German search pattern is focused on the high ground, the ridgelines and clearings where military doctrine suggests escaped soldiers would naturally head. They are not concentrating their efforts in the low, marshy areas where the stream runs. It is a blind spot in their otherwise comprehensive sweep. The sergeant gathers his makeshift command around him, Thompson from Able Company, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez from Baker, and Lieutenant Morrison, the only surviving officer, who took shrapnel in his leg but can still walk. O'Sullivan explains his plan in simple terms. They will move in single file along the stream, maintaining 15-meter intervals to minimize casualties if they are discovered. The wounded will be positioned in the center of the column, with the strongest soldiers at the front and rear. They will move only at night and hide during daylight hours. Morrison, despite his youth and inexperience, grasps the logic immediately. "How long will it take us to reach friendly lines?" he asks. O'Sullivan studies the map he has salvaged from a dead radio operator. The stream winds through approximately 12 kilometers of enemy territory before reaching the forward positions of the 36th Infantry Division. In normal circumstances, this would be a 4-hour march. With wounded men, moving at night through difficult terrain, he estimates 36 hours minimum. The first night's march reveals both the wisdom and the risks of O'Sullivan's strategy. Moving through the stream is exhausting work. The water is knee-deep in most places, deeper at certain points, and the rocky bottom provides treacherous footing. Private Martinez from Charlie Company, who caught shrapnel in his thigh during the initial ambush, struggles to maintain the pace despite the support of 2 other soldiers. His labored breathing seems unnaturally loud in the quiet forest. But they encounter no German patrols. The enemy search effort is concentrated on the roads and high ground, exactly as O'Sullivan predicted. By dawn, they have covered nearly 4 kilometers and found a defensible position in a dense thicket where the stream makes a sharp bend. Here, surrounded by fallen logs and thick vegetation, 100 American soldiers spend the day in silence, taking turns sleeping and standing watch. O'Sullivan does not sleep. He moves quietly among his men, checking on the wounded, distributing the last of their rations, and studying the terrain ahead. The stream continues southwest, but he can see on his map that it eventually curves back toward the east, directly into the teeth of German defensive positions. They will need to leave the water soon and strike out overland. The second day brings new challenges. Private Rodriguez, one of the soldiers supporting the wounded Martinez, develops symptoms of trench foot. His feet are swollen and discolored from prolonged exposure to cold water. 2 other men are running high fevers, likely from infected wounds. Most critically, they are running out of food and medical supplies. It is during this second day of hiding that O'Sullivan makes his most crucial decision. He has identified a German supply convoy that passes along a dirt road roughly 1 kilometer to the north. The convoy runs twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, carrying ammunition and food to forward positions. The evening convoy is smaller and less heavily guarded. O'Sullivan proposes to take a small team and ambush this convoy, capturing desperately needed supplies. Lieutenant Morrison objects strenuously. Any attack will reveal their position and bring down the full weight of German forces in the area. But O'Sullivan has already calculated the alternatives. Without food and medical supplies, the wounded men will not survive another day of marching. They are facing a choice between certain death from exposure and starvation, or possible death from enemy action. The ambush team consists of 8 men, chosen for their combat experience and physical condition. They leave their hiding place at dusk, moving carefully through the underbrush toward the road. O'Sullivan positions his men in a classic L-shaped ambush formation, with the base of the L covering the road and the short arm providing flanking fire. The plan is simple: disable the lead vehicle with rifle fire, eliminate the guards, grab whatever supplies they can carry, and withdraw immediately. The German convoy arrives precisely on schedule, 1 motorcycle with a sidecar in the lead, followed by 2 trucks loaded with crates and boxes. There are perhaps 15 German soldiers total, most of them young replacements who look as tired and cold as the Americans hiding in the forest. O'Sullivan feels a moment of reluctance before giving the signal to fire. These are somebody's sons, brothers, fathers. But his own men are dying, and he has made his choice. The firefight lasts less than 3 minutes. O'Sullivan's team has the advantages of surprise, concealment, and desperation. The Germans, caught in the open on a narrow road, never have a chance to organize effective resistance. When the shooting stops, the Americans quickly load themselves with ammunition, medical supplies, and German rations. They also capture something unexpected, a German radio set, still functional. The radio changes everything. O'Sullivan, who learned basic German from his grandmother, is able to monitor enemy communications and discovers that the German search effort is being scaled back. The local commanders believe the American survivors have already been eliminated or have escaped the immediate area. This intelligence allows O'Sullivan to modify his plan. Instead of continuing to follow the stream, which is now curving back toward enemy positions, he can risk moving overland through areas the Germans have already searched. The final push toward Allied lines takes place on the third night. 100 American soldiers, now resupplied and carrying their wounded on improvised stretchers, move through the dark forest in a column nearly half a kilometer long. O'Sullivan walks point, using his hunter's instincts to navigate by starlight and the subtle sounds of the night. Behind him, 99 men follow in silence, trusting their lives to his judgment. They encounter their first American patrol at 0347 hours on October 18, 1944. Staff Sergeant Williams of the 36th Infantry Division's reconnaissance platoon nearly shoots O'Sullivan before recognizing his whispered password. Within minutes, the forest is full of American medics, officers, and soldiers helping to evacuate the survivors. All 100 men reach Allied lines alive. The official Army report credits Sergeant O'Sullivan with exceptional leadership and tactical acumen in conducting a fighting withdrawal through enemy territory. But the men who were there know the truth is both simpler and more profound. O'Sullivan saved 100 lives not through brilliant military strategy, but through the application of common sense, careful observation, and an unshakable commitment to bringing his men home. The ripple effects of O'Sullivan's actions extend far beyond that October night in the Vosges Mountains. Private Martinez, whose thigh wound nearly cost him his life, returns to his family farm in New Mexico and eventually becomes a successful rancher and local politician. Corporal Thompson, the 19-year-old who lost his best friend in the initial ambush, uses his GI Bill benefits to become a doctor and spends 40 years treating veterans. Lieutenant Morrison stays in the Army, rises to the rank of colonel, and applies the lessons learned from O'Sullivan throughout his career. But perhaps the most significant consequence involves the German radio set captured during the supply convoy ambush. The intelligence gathered from monitoring enemy communications proves invaluable to Allied operations in the sector, leading to the successful breakthrough that ends German resistance in the Vosges Mountains 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Hundreds of American lives are saved as a result. The story of Sergeant Marcus O'Sullivan illustrates a fundamental truth about warfare and human nature. In moments of extreme crisis, survival often depends not on complex strategies or advanced technology, but on the application of basic human wisdom, the ability to observe carefully, think clearly, and act decisively in the face of overwhelming odds. O'Sullivan's greatest asset was not his military training, but his willingness to trust his instincts and take responsibility for the lives of others. Today, the stream that carried 100 American soldiers to safety still winds through the forests of eastern France. Local historians have marked the route with small plaques commemorating the march, but the forest itself remains largely unchanged. The same oak trees provide shelter, the same rocky stream bed challenges those who would follow its course. In this sense, O'Sullivan's journey has become part of the permanent landscape, a reminder that individual courage and determination can alter the course of history in ways both large and small. The forgotten hero of the Vosges Mountains received the Distinguished Service Cross for his actions, but he never spoke publicly about what happened during those 3 days behind enemy lines. He returned to Montana after the war, married his childhood sweetheart, and spent the rest of his life raising cattle and guiding hunting parties through the same wilderness that taught him the skills he used to save 100 lives. He died in 1987, surrounded by family and friends, most of whom never knew they were in the presence of a man who had changed the course of the war through simple acts of courage and compassion.